Racketeers News.
Good evening and welcome to Tuesday evening on Raconteurs News. Thanks for the great tunes there for the warm-up, Luby. I hope you all enjoyed that, and I hope you're all in the mood for what promises to be a great evening. We've got something really, really special lined up for you. Quite groundbreaking for Raconteurs, but as always, I'm joined by Jason. Good evening, Jason. How's things with you, mate?
Hello there, Andy, and hello everybody. Yeah, everything's hunky-dory, smashing, ship-shape and Bristol fashion over this end of Yorkshire.
Oh, excellent. So, yeah, we've got quite a diversity of accents tonight. I mean, we've got me and thee. Apparently, we've got similar accents, David reckoned, on Thursday night, but I can't see it. And we've got a Brummie accent joining us now, and that's Andrew K. Fletcher. Good evening, Andrew.
Good evening. I'll have you know it's a black country accent, not a Brummie.
I knew that. You see, I knew that. I wouldn't make that mistake, Andrew.
I'm a yam-yam.
Ah, right. Okay, fair enough. My apologies. But, well, and also, in a short while, we're going to have a Scouser joining as well, because you've had quite an amazing success with inclined bed therapy, haven't you?
Yes, it's been quite. It's something that I've always wanted to get into. You know, for 20 years I've been helping people with illnesses. But a sports angle is something that I've tried to get involved in for quite a number of years. I first approached the Baggies through the manager, and to see if they would have the whole team on an incline bed. The object was to determine whether it would boost their performance, but that never came to fruition, unfortunately. But yeah, we'll be hearing from champion Tony Moran shortly, the Scouse boxer, as Andy introduces him. But yeah, it's been a fascinating experiment.
He's just sent me a message saying it's going to be like listening to Red Dwarf.
I like Red Dwarf.
Yeah, it was one of the decent programs on telly when I was still watching it there. Yeah,
it was. Yeah.
For that. But Jason, I suppose really you've got quite a bit to say to Andrew, because you tried it and it's had quite an effect for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, we were saying just beforehand, my problem is circulation. I've got terrible circulation due to the antiphospholipid syndrome that I've seemed to have got from somewhere. So my circulation is really, really bad. And I noticed straight away. I actually noticed. I know you say there are a lot of people that it takes a couple of weeks for them to get used to it, and things can get worse. But things improved overnight for me. Literally overnight. The first morning that I woke up, my circulation's better. My hands are pink. My hands are pink. They're never pink. They're always cold. And I take warfarin as well. See, as part of this condition. So. My hands are always cold. My blood's thin anyway, but now my circulation is apart from I've got a blood clot in my leg which stops the lower part of my right leg from getting very much, but it is a lot improved on before, and I found that happened straight away.
That's interesting, especially with the deep vein thrombosis we're talking about. Is it?
Yes, acute ischemia. Yeah.
Okay. Well. Judy's mum had quite a sizable lump on her leg. She's passed away a few years back now, and she got puzzled because it just vanished. And according to the medical profession, that shouldn't have happened, and they were very concerned that this blood clot had somehow moved around the body, and which is a danger. But what I suspect had happened is it because the increased circulation. It actually dissolved it away naturally.
Wow. Well, for all those people who are listening to this on the YouTube replay, we're recording the Skype feed so that there will be video of us all talking, and you'll be able to see how fit and healthy Jason looks. Because, I remember we both said we were quite concerned about Jason because he had a heart attack just before Christmas. and he was looking quite grey. His skin was pale, and these real dark circles under his eyes. And when I was talking to him about, I think it was 10 days or 2 weeks after he inclined his bed, my other half, Tina, walked in the room to bring me a cup of tea, and she stopped and did a double take. She went, "Oh my God, Jason looks so well." And I can see the difference it's made on him. Never mind him telling me.
I had a problem, see, with appetite as well. I lost a lot of weight really quickly because I couldn't eat anything. And I thought it was due to the pills that I was taking and what was going on. But since I've been doing this inclined bed therapy, I didn't used to eat anything. I couldn't eat anything. I used to have acid reflux, things that get stuck in my throat. And so as a result of that, I lost lots and lots of weight. I lost about 4 stone. And so that's gone. I now eat normally like I used to eat when I was growing up. You know, I'm in things. I'm sat and I'm always eating and picking. I have put some weight on, and not too much, I hope, because I don't want to overstretch my heart. But yeah, my appetite's come back. I could list so many things as long as your arm of the improvements that it's made to me. And one of my fears when I was wanting to do this was how it would affect my wife, because we both sleep in the same bed. And it was actually her that came back, who'd read up on it. And she came home from work one day with some bed raisers and said, "We're going to give this a try." And so we did that, and it's due to her. And she used to suffer from terrible migraines, bad migraines. She'd have migraines for 3 or 4 days on time, and won't be able to get rid of them. And she said to me, we've been doing it for about 4 or 5 weeks. And she said to me the other day, she said, "I had a headache, and it was unusual because I thought to myself, my God, I ain't had a headache in so long." She'd not had a headache in such a long time, yet she suffers from migraines. So I could give, like I say, I could give a list as long as my arm as the improvements that it's given me.
And has your wife had any migraine since the bed has been tilted?
No, not a single migraine.
My last migraine was in 1994 when I raised the bed.
Yeah, I can believe it.
The inclined bed is a cure for migraine. Now, did we just mention the dreaded cure word?
Yes, they don't want that, do they?
No, we don't
cure.
want the cure word.
A cheap and simple cure like this one is. I mean, it don't cost you anything. You can just do it with a couple of bricks. I honestly would, no matter if you're healthy or whether you're healthy or you're not. If you're not healthy, then it's going to help you no end. And if you are healthy, you're still going to feel benefits from it.
Yes. I think anyone listening to this for the first time is going to be pretty confused because we're talking about inclining the bed, which is merely raising the head end of the bed 6 to 8 inches or 15 centimetres and above to cause the whole bed to slope down from head to toe. We've named this inclined bed therapy. It's not really a therapy. It's how we used to sleep back in ancient Egyptian times, because when they pulled the beds out of the tombs, every single one of them was raised exactly 15 centimetres higher at the head end. They knew a thing or two, those Egyptians. And also there's a wonderful picture of a hospital in Constantinople, which was renowned for being more successful treating patients than anywhere else in the world. And that picture illustrates every bed in that hospital is inclined, is raised at the head end. And it goes back to the Tudor period as well. We had a condition called the sweating sickness, which killed millions of people, even the king of the day. And everybody was fearful of this sweating sickness. And if you got it and you went to bed, you didn't wake up in the morning. So what I read was that they placed 2 guards by the side of the bed, and that effectively prevented the patient from lying down, and they survived.
Wow, I mean, this is so amazing how effective it is, and I think one thing we're always up against, Andrew, is that an awful lot of people these days cannot see the value of anything that costs nothing.
Yes. In fact, well, that's my favourite price. Is nothing. I'm a bit of a cheapskate in life. You know, I've got my electric bill down to £12 for a quarter. My gas bill down to 15 quid a quarter, and my water bill, well, that's laughable. But you know, quite rightly so, because there's no huge amount of money to be handed over, then it can't be worth doing. But that is such a mistake. You know, it's possibly the most sensible thing you could do for yourselves is to simply jack up the head end of the bed. Yeah, I see people waking up in the mornings and they've got great big Jaffa oranges for eyes, all puffed up. And, you know, the next morning, after sleeping on an inclined bed, all those baggy eyes have gone. You know, it's quite bizarre.
Yeah, that's another thing I noticed as well. I think I noticed that on the first day, the morning after, I noticed that, first of all, it took me a little while longer to come round from my slumber because I think I'd been in such a deep sleep. It took me a little while longer to come round, but once I came round, I felt like I'd been up all day after 5 minutes, you know. Felt like I'd been up all day. I didn't have that morning feeling. I'd go downstairs and I'd cook myself some, you know, breakfast and what have you, and I'd think, you know, I just feel like I'd just been up all day.
So, yeah. Again, that was the thing that we noticed when we first tilted our bed. I took the lads down to the seafront and they got skateboards, and I got a bull terrier pulling them up and down the seafront, and I was running in front of the dog, encouraging him. The dog was completely shattered. Now, bull terriers are amazing dogs. They'll run for miles. But he couldn't run anymore, and I got back to the wife and I said, "Oh, the dog's knackered." She said, "But why aren't you?" And I thought, wow, I could have run forever. Yeah. You know, and that was, to me, I mean, okay, this was back in 1994 when we were experimenting. We didn't really expect, well, to see any staggering differences, but it did. You know, it's varicose veins. You know, my wife's varicose vein had been there for 16 years, and within 4 weeks it had gone flat. And a nurse called Stephanie Ness, who butted in on a conversation I was having with a guy down the local bookshop, she tilted her bed at around the same time, and lo and behold, her varicose vein went flat in 4 weeks. You know, so that told me that I'd nailed something significant, because what we've shown there is we've changed the pressure from inside the veins that was pushing the veins out, causing them to bulge. We've actually lowered that pressure, and we're now drawing the veins back in. Now, this has implications for edema as well, because the doctors will say raise your legs to get rid of edema, but all that tends to do is to push the edema back to the upper torso or back to the trunk. And when you stand up again in the morning, you know, the fluids all move back down to your legs. But what we found was that the people with edema were reporting, you know, that the edema had gone and didn't appear again. So by changing the pressure inside the veins, you reversed the problem. The initial problem was that the pressure inside the veins was greater than the pressure outside of the veins. So fluid from the veins used to migrate into the surrounding tissue. Now what we've done is lowered the veins, which is evidenced by the varicose veins going flat, lowered the pressure in the veins. Now the fluid migrates back into the veins, is whipped around the circulatory system and out through the bladder. Yes, people with a lot of edema will urinate a lot more initially, but that's a good thing because it's actually getting rid of this excess fluid. And indeed, people have reported huge weight loss, and this is in people that have a fluid retention problem.
Right. Well, something I wanted to bring up with you, and it's been raised as a concern by a couple of people. Firstly, a friend of mine who's a nurse, and she said, "Oh, you can't do that for people with low blood pressure." And also, there's a friend of the show, Mithrin, who's in the chat room now, and his wife has very low blood pressure, and he says that if a doctor takes her blood pressure, they won't let her leave again until it goes into triple figures. So I know that Mithrin said his wife had a lot of trouble with leg pain since she started in the raised bed. I think he said it's 30 days they've been trying it now. I don't know whether she's still doing it. I think he said she was going to have to pack up. So can you advise whether there is a contraindication for someone with low blood pressure, or it's perhaps something that's initial stages, they get this aching legs and it will go away?
Yeah. What's been observed over the years is the blood pressure, because of inclined bed therapy, has moved in both directions. In some cases, it remains stable, but it's pushed low blood pressure up and it's lowered high blood pressure. But I mean, I suffer with a high blood pressure, so it's not actually relieved my problem. My problem, I believe, is caused by polycystic kidneys. Yeah. Which is it's just unfortunate I've got that, but there you go. But blood pressure can move in both directions, and I suspect that a person with low blood pressure might find that their blood pressure would improve, and maybe that's causing the extra pain. If you're having a bit of extra pressure going through the veins and through the arteries, then that could actually register back as an ache or pain.
I believe you said you had a bit of an ache in your lower legs when you first started, Jason.
Yeah, that was really odd. Stiff neck as well, terrible creaking, cracking stiff neck. And quite a few of us by now were sleeping inclined, and they're all reporting, well, not all, but the majority were reporting similar aches and pains initially within the first 2 to 3 weeks. But after that, the pains just melted away as quick as they come.
Well, I had some pain, but I don't know whether, because when I first started, I was just at the end of about a gout, so I'd got bad pain in my ankles anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
But because I've got acute ischemia, I've got one of the main arteries into my leg is blocked with it's actually in a stent that was put in there from a previous blockage.
Right.
So it can't be moved. It's they say because it's stable, they're going to leave it where it is. But as a result, my lower leg is cold constantly. It's like a dead leg. Now that's improved as well, no end. I used to have to go to bed with a hot water bottle. I've been going to bed with a hot water bottle every day, no matter whether winter, summer, every single night. I had to have a hot water bottle. I had to take it away with me on holiday. I had to have a hot water bottle for my right foot. I don't even wear a sock on my foot now.
No.
I don't wear I don't need a hot water bottle. I don't have a sock on my foot. There's nothing on there. I'm just in bed like I used to be.
Yes.
Before this all happened.
Yeah, that's interesting as well. Again, lots and lots of reports in the early days, and indeed all the time, is that people that suffer with cold hands and cold feet in bed. I mean, my wife was a classic example. She'd put her feet on me and they'd be like blocks of ice. And, it would take 2 hours for the feet to become normal temperature, if indeed they did. And now she sleeps with the feet out the bed because they get a little bit too warm. Yeah, so, yeah, it's... And again, I suspect what's happening is if you ever put your thumb on a bicycle pump and forced air through a small gap with your finger, it gets hot.
Yeah.
So, because it's under more pressure, right, and because it's flowing at a greater velocity, or we've increased the circulation marginally, then that would actually generate a bit more friction.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it would also distribute the heat better. If you've got a blocked radiator on a truck, it'll overheat, yeah? But if you've got the right size radiator for the truck and if everything's open and moving freely, it takes the heat from the engine and distributes it to the radiator. So the same with the body. If we can improve the circulation, we can shift the heat more evenly around the body. Yeah, I suspect there's a guy called the Iceman, and I've been watching what he's doing as well with his posture.
Oh.
Yeah, and he's using posture.
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen he's the guy who can submerge himself in ice and not have any ill effects.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's pretty amazing, that guy. And if anyone hasn't seen it, I urge you to just go to YouTube and just put the Iceman in there, and you'll find him.
Yeah. So he's obviously worked out how he can control his body temperature as well. I suspect he might have thicker blood than most people as well, because again, if you've increased the thickness of the blood, then back to the old bicycle pump analogy, to move thicker blood through the vessels would generate more heat. And indeed, the opposite occurs when you're on warfarin, as Jason said, is because you thin the blood, so therefore there's less friction, and therefore the body temperature cools down below comfortable levels.
Mm-hmm. That reminds me of something you mentioned a few weeks ago in a message, when you were talking about getting the word out, and hopefully having Tony on with us later in the show is going to really do wonders for that, because hopefully it will draw in one or two, or more than one or two, a lot of people that don't normally listen to us. And was it you said if this came from religion or the medical authorities, this would be absolutely amazing, but because we're just mechanics, it can't possibly be true.
That's right. Well, they don't want it to be true. Yes.
No, absolutely. Well, it's going to cost them a fortune, isn't it?
Yes.
Instead of spending these thousands of pounds on pharmaceutical medications, or harmaceutical as we prefer to call them, you just raise your bed and suddenly all kinds of things that you thought were lifelong problems, as in Jason's case, suddenly they're gone.
Yeah, your sound's a little bit breaking up. Your sound.
Oh, that must be a Skype issue. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
It's okay here. It's okay here, Andy.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's if we can move this into the sports arena, as we'll hear later from Tony, then the sky's the limit. This could really fly, especially with the clamping down on the drugs, and what they need is an edge, and I believe we've got something here that gives sports people an edge.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's probably why we as a country, as a nation, we never win anything, because we lay flat and everybody else already knows?
I've had a lot of feedback from people, weightlifters as well. I've got a weightlifter who's doing incredibly well. But yes, I suspect that quite a few people have cottoned on and are using it, but unlike Tony, not prepared to broadcast what's been happening to them. Hey, we've got another boxer, Billy Carito, and he's been using an incline bed, and it's improved his performance, his staying power, his punching power. I'm getting this feedback from the guy, and all he's done is tilted his bed.
So how did you meet Tony?
How
did you get together? How did he get his bed inclined?
Tony contacted me after he'd watched a video with Clive de Call, yeah, and Clive de Call is a good lad. He's a good man. He helps a lot of people out. Different line to what I'm doing, but he helps people with nutrients and supplements and got health guidance. So Tony was advised to contact me by Clive, and he decided to go for it straight away and put his bed on an incline. Tony had been through a very rough patch. He'll tell us more about that in the when he comes on. I mean, at the time he fought his bout and won his world championship, he was actually homeless, which is like a double whammy. We're talking about things that cost nothing, that have great effect. And here's a guy that hasn't even got a home. Yeah, he's put a couple of bricks under his bed and goes on to win the world championship title fight, which is incredible.
Wow. I never tire of telling people about this incline bed therapy. I mean, some people must think it's almost a cult we're trying to start, because the thing that excites me so much, Andrew, is we do get some incredible feedback after some of the guests we get on, but we've never had as much feedback as from when we've had you on, from that first initial show, and get messages from people all over the world now on a regular basis telling me that they've done it and it's wow. And I've just got one here, just arrived on Skype, and it's from a good friend of the show, Rick Dwyer, who made the film Run from the Cure with Rick Simpson. And he says, Rick Dwyer from Canada says, since my wife and I started Andrew Fletcher's incline bed therapy in February 2016, our sleeping patterns have improved dramatically as well as other health issues. I would like to congratulate Tony on his championship win and thank RN Tony and Andrew Fletcher for bringing this wonderful therapy to the world.
Thank you.
Go, Andrew.
Brilliant.
And I'm just trying to spread the word a bit wider and get more.
Well, I tell everybody. My mum's got her bed inclined. My wife's sister's got her bed inclined. My mate, my friend, he's got his bed inclined. It took him some right messing about as well because he's got a divan. But he did it. He's got it right. He's got it all on a 6-inch inclined at the head. So I tell everybody, and then this is beginning to sound a little bit like an infomercial. And it's you get off when
yeah, but we're not selling anything, are we? We're not. That's the problem. Is we're not selling anything. Maybe if we charge people £1,000, you know, and say, look, here's your couple of blocks of wood. Away you go. It would spread like wildfire. First of all, you'd be accused of corruption and trying to rip people off. And, of course, all news is good news. So maybe, you know, being honest and telling people how it is probably not the way to go if you want to spread it like wildfire.
Well, I'm thinking of looking online, see if I can find a job lot of old medical books. Because, like you said, people say, well, what can I prop my bed up on? I said, well, do it bricks, blocks of wood if you like. But I like your idea, prop them up on old medical books.
Yeah.
Now on, they're pretty useless.
Yeah, they're going to have to be rewritten, that's for sure. Yeah, it's... But, I mean, if we study animals in the wild, that's you know, everything starts to make sense. You watch a lizard in an aquarium, and if it's too hot, it'll lower itself. And if it wants to warm itself up, it raises its head up. You know, and alligators and crocodiles on the side of a riverbank, they'll choose a bank with an incline. Yeah, so they can face down or face up. Again, reptiles regulating the body temperature. You know, when we stood up, we actually changed the way our circulation worked. When we you know, we were hunched over. The holes in the back of the head, which carried the vessels, which carried the blood to and from the brain to the skin, actually migrated to the top of the head, according to Dean Falk. And she comes up with a theory called the radiator theory, which, when we stood up, our brain decided to reroute the circulation to add more cooling to the brain. But there are no vessels. There are no valves in those vessels. And a brilliant scientist, Michel Cabernac, Professor Cabernac from University of Laval, Quebec, Canada, he placed a Doppler probe where the nose meets the eye, and shows normal blood flow from the brain out to the skin. Everybody's got the same, you would think. He then puts a guy on a cycle, exercise cycle, and gets him overheated, and then he puts a Doppler probe back, and now the blood is flowing in the opposite direction. It's actually flowing from the skin down to the brain, so a completely reversal against the pressure of the heart. Now, Cabernac approached Falk, and Falk's theory says that the brain somehow diverts the flow, but like I said, there are no vessels, no veins in those vessels, no valves in those vessels that the brain can use to control the flow of blood. So what I put to Cabernac was that the extra heat generated by the exercise cycle caused extra evaporation from the hot scalp, which in turn changed the density of the blood. So instead of the blood flowing over T-junctions, it actually went down and actually took the shortest route down through the brain because it was denser as a result of the evaporative heat loss. Cabernac liked that theory. Whether he's published anything to go along with it, I don't know. He said he would, but we'll have to wait and see, I suppose, whether that comes to fruition. But it's fascinating that we can see experimentally that simply overheating the blood and causing more evaporation can change the direction of blood flow against the pressure of the heart.
You mentioned Tony there, and you mentioned that you were trying to get the Baggies. Is that Birmingham?
West Bromwich Albion. Yeah.
Oh, West Brom, sorry.
Yeah.
You were trying to get them to try it. Have you had any success in getting any football clubs to try it?
No.
I did think you mentioned that there was one club that talks about they might be trying it.
Did I? Club.
Sure. I'm sure you mentioned quite a famous club that plays all in red.
Oh, yes. But that's not happened yet. That's in the pipeline.
Right,
and again, that's through Tony Moran and his friend Mark. Yeah.
I think we can guess then which team that plays in red it will be.
Yes, you can. Yes.
And I'm a Sheffield Wednesday fan, and I'm going to be writing to them and trying to get in touch and just see if I can get. I know a few players on Twitter and things like that, so I'm going to try and point them in that direction, in your direction.
Yes.
I think that'll give us an edge as well.
I'm not sure I'll do that, with potential for improving your team against the Baggies.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be playing each other for a while.
No.
Well, I was saying to my other half this afternoon, we were both like kids waiting for Christmas, waiting for this show. And I said to her, we've been... our sport, the only sport we follow nowadays is motorcycle racing. And we've been marvelling for the last few years at the feats achieved by Valentino Rossi. Valentino is 37 years old, and he's basically kicking the arse of a load of youngsters who are 20, 21, 22. And he finishes the race as fresh as when he starts. I wonder if he's perhaps hit on it, or if not, if we ought to try and get in touch and get him on it, he'd probably still be doing it at 100.
Yeah, I must have approached tens of thousands of people over the 20 years that I've but the initial reaction is they nod their head and say, oh yeah, thank you very much, yeah. And walk away thinking they've got one up on you and thinking you're one brick short of a full load.
Yeah. That you were going to try and sell them something at some point. That's probably what you were thinking.
Of course, yes. We've been conditioned to wait for the hit. But, it's, unfortunately, it's just human nature, I suppose, that, we'll cast doubt rather than, entertain new ideas.
Yeah. I think we've got a question in the chat room, haven't we, Andy?
Oh yes, sorry. It's Kevin Mark, good friend of the show again. Kevin's been doing some great work booking us guests on, and Kevin's asking: are there any contraindications where inclined bed therapy would not be possible, i.e., elderly or any particular medical condition?
Well, what we've discovered over the years, and the huge amount of medical literature backs it up, is that flat bed rest is perhaps the last thing you want to be doing if you're elderly and infirm. This lady called Stephanie Ness, the nurse that first tilted the bed for varicose veins, was helping a lot of the aged people, and she noticed that all of the people that lived to be close on 100 or more didn't lie down for long in beds, and all those that passed quickly spent a long time lying on a bed. And in fact, NASA's been paying people $17,000 just to lie on a flat bed or lie on a bed that's head down and feet up, because they want to cause the body to age 10 times faster, which reflects what happens to astronauts in space. So they found a cheap method of studying the harmful effects of being in microgravity simply by confining healthy people to either a flat bed or a head down bed.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's $17,000. I think
Yeah.
I found the experiment online, and it's only for about 3 months they're getting paid that, isn't it?
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Laid out for 3 months for $17,000.
Yes.
I did notice one the other day that was online that was, I think it was a similar amount of money, but you were to lay down in bed and smoke weed for a month.
Oh, that sounds all right.
I wouldn't mind doing that one, yeah.
Yeah, well, the smoking weed might outweigh the damage for laying in the flat bed, mightn't it?
Yeah, Mike. Yeah.
One thing that does surprise me as well, Andrew, is that people try this for, I don't know, a month or two, and they find all these marvellous benefits for their health. And then after a month or two, they think, right, I'm fixed now, and put their bed flat, and then wonder why they get ill again.
Yeah. 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 There's no logic in that, is there really?
I mean, for me, the biggest benefit is one thing that Jason mentioned there. Yes, it did wonders for my sciatica, but the biggest benefit for me was the fact that I'd always, didn't matter if I sleep 2 hours or 12, always used to wake up tired. Never ever woke up feeling refreshed, and I was quite envious of people that did. And I can't remember whether it was the first night or second night. I woke up in the morning and I just felt really strange. And I thought, what's this? I feel strange. I can't work out what it... And what it was, I wasn't half asleep and bleary-eyed. I just felt great as soon as I got out of bed. Wow. When I realised what had happened, it's like a miracle.
Yeah. I know you said don't mention it, but we're talking about legal highs, yeah? And they're banning legal highs, yeah? But, if you raise your bed up, you've got nature's own legal high there, because your bed's higher.
Yeah, that's... Yes.
So give yourself a good boost, yeah?
Perhaps
A good legal high.
a natural high rather than a legal high.
Oh, yeah, I like the sound of that. That sounds even better, yeah? But perfectly legal, of course.
Unless they start taxing us on how high our bed is.
Yes.
You never
yes.
know, do you? You never know. Another thing I noticed, I just want to mention, just briefly, I know that we're sort of like 20 to 9 and we're a little bit before watershed, but I tell you what else is, the other effect that I've had is that my old fella woke up.
Really?
Yes.
Nice one. Yes. You're not by any means the first to have reported that. Yeah, the early morning wood.
Oh, go blimey. Honestly, I nearly had my eye out a couple of times. I've been ill and I've been on all these tablets all these months, and I think it disappeared at one time. It just went on holiday.
Yeah.
So, but oh God, it's back anyway. That's another one.
Actually, what we've found as well is that the inclined bed has stopped many old people, blokes, particularly blokes, from rolling and falling out of bed.
Oh, right. I fell for that one, didn't I?
You did, didn't you? The old kickstand joke. And you're a motorbike man as well, Andy. You should have got that one straight away.
Yeah, I should. Oh, I'm a bit slow. It's my old age. That's what I blame anyway.
But we've had, we've talked about just improvements in our health, but if you study most illnesses, like Parkinson's disease, for example, a patient with Parkinson's disease in the early stages will wake up completely paralysed. So the partner will then raise them up the bed and sit and get them up, propped up on the pillow, and they come round a little bit. And then they raise them up a little bit more, and they come round a little bit more, swing the legs over the side of the bed and get them to sit on the side of the bed, and they come round a little bit more compos mentis, get them to stand up, get them to move around. By the end of the day, they're walking around like you and I, and then they go back to bed again and start it all over again. It's like, hello, have you considered that it might be the bed?
Yeah, absolutely. We've actually got another question for you, Andrew, and it's from Red Robin, who's a newcomer in Raconteurs News chat tonight. So welcome, Red Robin. And he or she is asking, does inclined bed therapy help individuals with type 1 or type 2 diabetes?
Yes. a study has been conducted. It's on my website, which is inclinebedtherapy.com, and there's research on there from a tiny island called Pohnpei, which has a huge problem with type 2 and type 1 diabetes, thanks to the introduction of the American diet. Before the American diet arrived, these people were all super fit, living on fruits and fish. But they've got a massive problem with morbid obesity, and also a huge problem with diabetes. So a guy called Tataki Yi Ting, who's a doctor, approached me and said, would we be able to test this on a group of patients with type 2 diabetes? And the beds were all tilted. The photographs are there of the actual beds that were tilted. And what we found was that right across the board, it lowered their blood sugar levels quite considerably, simply by tilting a bed. Mm-hmm. But also, I have an 82 years young friend who's on insulin, but he's type 2 diabetes on insulin, and his insulin requirements have dropped absolutely phenomenally. And and another lady, which happens to be his wife, has noticed that she's had a damaged pancreas caused through administration of prednisolone, which is a steroid, and she wasn't told what they were giving her, and she was just said, "Here, drink this," and then they told her she'd be type 1 diabetic for the rest of her life, and that her pancreas would never function again. Well, the pancreas has started to function again, because she's also finding that she's not needing anywhere near as much insulin, which is incredible.
You see, I've got a bit of a interest in that as well, because my stepson is type 1 diabetic, and he's already expressed an interest. He's only 15, but he's already expressed an interest in inclining his bed, because he had heard me and his mum talking about things, and he to me, it's just him trying to get out and having to do his blood sugar and all that sort of thing, and take the injections. But yeah, it's all good. I'm going to have to try that on. Try and put his bed up.
That's great news, and great news is we've got Tony Moran has joined us. Good evening, Tony.
Good evening. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you fine, mate. We haven't got your camera on at the minute. Is there any chance you can put your camera on?
Right, okay, let me see.
It's just that we're recording it for
am I there now?
YouTube.
There you go, Tony.
That's brilliant.
Let me just fix me top of me hair, hang on.
No worries, mate. Yeah, well, thanks for joining us, Tony, and congratulations on the World Championship victory.
Thank you very much.
I was just saying to Andrew before you arrived, my partner and I, we follow motorbike racing, and we were raving about how Valentino Rossi has been kicking the young kids' asses at the age of 37. Now, you can go one better than that, can't you?
With my age, you mean?
Yeah.
I'm a ripe young 42.
42.
Look at the skin though. Can't tell, can you?
No. Absolutely. You're looking well there, mate.
I bet he uses Grecian 2000.
Hi, hey Anthony. Tell us about your victory, your win, and how you won the title. Tell us who were you up against, what sort of age were they, and how did it go?
The guy I fought for the world title, his name was Robb. He was a 3 times ABA Scottish champion. He's a solid pro. He is, to my remembrance, he's 35, I think, 34. Mm-hmm. Rated in the top 10 in Canada. I'm not sure why he's a Scotsman. Maybe he lived there for some time. So it was a WBF world title, which is not one of the main 3. There's 3 that we're all well aware of: the IBF, WBA, WBC. This was what's known as a fringe world title, but nonetheless, he was a worthy opponent to beat. He was a solid individual. It was a fight over 12 rounds. So if you bear this in mind, at the time, I was living homeless. I was training for a fight without a base. had a lot of pressures outside of the fight game to deal with and contend with. But at the age of 42, I got in the ring for 12 hard rounds. The fight's going to be up to for people to watch soon, quite soon as well. The footage to give evidence. It's always evidence-based, in my opinion, though. So the evidence will show that for 12 rounds, the fight was from beginning to end was at a relentless pace. So if you bear that in mind, 42 years of age, living homeless, dealing with a lot of pressure outside the ring, was able to get in the ring on fight night and perform like an athlete of 20 years of age. Now, besides my intensive training program, my coach, my friend Harden, who's a fantastic coach, who guided me towards that world title, I also had the benefits of health and the benefits of incline bed therapy. I don't know why I said it like that. Incline bed therapy. And what will also be noticed by people if they do want to watch the fight is that for 12 rounds, I didn't sit down once. Do you understand what I mean by that, Jason?
Yeah, when you're in the corner.
Yeah, no 42-year-old fighters in a world title fight stand for 12 rounds like I did. Do you know why I did? Because Andrew told me to, and I trust Andrew. So what Andrew explained to me was gravity's at play when I'm standing up. When I'm sitting down, it's only half at play. So my recovery is cut in half. If I lie down, as I don't, hopefully you won't be lying down in the ring, but you know what I mean. If you're lying down, then gravity's not at play. So it's quite logical, isn't it?
It is an incredible story. Can you give some idea of your previous what how you were previously, your career, your boxing career? I think I had a quick look at your record. I think you were sort of 26 wins and 60 defeats. What was it like before? And what was the major difference before, perhaps when you weren't as successful, to now that you've won a world title?
Oh, just let me add this though, just what I was speaking prior about. If you're also, again, evidence-based, watch the video. From the first round to the last round, my body and my muscular, my muscular sort of stamina and endurance didn't fatigue once. And that's trust me when I say that's from going. If you watch the fight, watch how relentless it was, and then bear in mind I'm 42, and from the first round to the last, I was as muscularly fresh throughout. That makes sense as well?
Yes, it does.
Just turn my phone off, sorry.
Okay.
So I didn't fatigue muscularly once throughout the fight. That's something I've never experienced before. My boxing career, or my fight career, has been an uphill struggle for many different reasons I'm not going to go into because it's too long-winded. But the point is that with age and maturity, but then finding Clive the Carve, who put me onto Andrew, oh my God, like it's just become amazing. And I've won a world title at 42, not to prove anything to myself, because I know what I am, but I wanted to prove something about health and wellness and incline bed therapy. That's what I wanted to prove to people. And I wish it was on a bigger stage, I really do. I so wish that. But the story's not over yet.
No.
Well, absolutely. I made contact with a friend today who I used to co-host his radio show with him, a guy called Tom Barnes. He does a radio show to, it's mainly American listeners. It goes out on a Saturday afternoon, and I know Tom said he'd love to speak to you if you get a chance.
Brilliant, yeah.
So, that's True Frequency Radio over in the States. And Tom would be glad to speak to you. So, there's some alternative radio host.
Yeah.
This big thing about, so-and-so stole my guest. And really, we don't give a damn who interviews anybody so long as we get the word out. And particularly something as important as what yourself and Andrew are talking about here.
Sharing and caring. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's it.
There was one thing that Tony did that he hasn't mentioned, and that is to drop his hands down.
Yeah. That's a massively important.
And when you're back in the corner, is to have your hands down by your side and shake them as if you're washing your hands and shaking off the excess water. Again, that's to put the power back into the hands.
I did listen, Andrew, because I did it. If you watched the footage, I did it.
I know you did it.
Have you watched it, have you?
I have indeed.
You sneaky devil.
I also watched your original fights where you was orthodox boxing
Yeah.
and how quickly you fatigued, age 37.
Oh, listen, I've been fighting since the age of 13, so I understand how different it is now.
Yes.
I did share the link in the chat room there about from Andrew's website where you gave the testimony of your. You gave a picture of your hands the night after the fight and how quickly they recovered. Red Robin has just said, I wish Tony had before and after pictures of his hands on there. It looks like he only has pictures of what his hands look like after the fight. He doesn't have pictures of how fast the swelling decreased because of the incline bed therapy. So maybe that's something you can do next time, Tony.
No, actually, he did it.
I'm looking on my phone. I'm pretty sure I took photos of both.
Yes, you did.
I didn't I, Andrew?
Yes, he's got a picture of himself and his kids in the hotel room.
Yeah. No, at home.
At home, sorry. After the hotel room.
Right.
And his hands are normal.
Yeah. How can I show it?
That's something you could perhaps show on Andrew's website. I mean, we'll put all the links up when we post the podcast on our website, so people will be able to go and look at the links. There's the testimony on Andrew's website. Also, it's quite a good article about your achievement in the Guardian as well. I've been sharing that with quite a few people.
Yeah, that was widely read. That.
Yeah.
But you know what, Andrew? I did try. I always try. You know what I do. I try to get incline bed therapy mentioned, but
I know how the reporters work, Tony.
The edit isn't down to me. You understand? I mention you at every opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I read that article today as well, and I noticed that your name was there, Andrew.
It was.
Yeah.
In what
I think
article?
so. I'm sure you said that you thanked Andrew K. Fletcher.
In the Guardian article.
Well, maybe it might be a different one, but
yeah.
I'm getting at cross purposes. But
it wasn't in the Guardian.
It didn't go in the Guardian. No.
Well, you're on Raconteurs News. That's even better.
It is. But what we need to do now is to get more boxers and get more sports people involved in this. You know, to give our Olympics team an edge over the rest of the world.
Yeah.
You know, what are they waiting for?
Do you know recovery is just I don't get lactic acid build up anymore.
Yeah, just as I predicted.
My fitness is better.
Fantastic.
Everything's better.
So the lactic acid is that burning feeling in your muscles, isn't it? When you fatigue, yeah.
But the point I'm making is, Andy, is that when I train hard, I've trained immensely hard today.
Mm-hmm.
Now, sadly, I'll be sleeping in a flatbed tonight because I'm staying in my ladies. But when I'm in the incline bed, I won't notice any soreness tomorrow. I might tomorrow because I'm sleeping in a flatbed. But tomorrow, you know, when I get back in the incline bed, no soreness whatsoever. I recover overnight immediately.
Yeah, well, one thing we've noticed from our experience is we raised our bed, it must be getting on for probably even more than a year ago now. And there were some things that we didn't actually notice changing until we go away and forget to take the bed raises, which we did a few weeks back. And you sleep in a flat bed for a night or a couple of nights. And we stayed in a hotel, lovely memory foam mattress and all that. But when we got up in the morning, we went to the bathroom. As you walk past the mirror, you glance in the mirror and think, who the hell is that in the mirror with the big swollen eyes and the puffy face?
Why something so logical do people just dismiss? It drives me insane.
Yeah.
Well, we were discussing this earlier on, where that people don't value things that are just
Free.
that don't have any monetary value attached to them.
I'm telling you, that's the way of the world. It's sick, isn't it? Horrible.
Mm-hmm. And you know, it's something like this. I'm so pleased that Andrew's managed to get you on to come and talk to us, because I've been expounding this theory for what, 18 months or whatever it is since first spoke with Andrew and tried it myself, but I've only actually been telling sick people about it. Now, with your experiences, Tony, and your testimony, we can now say it's not just good for sick people, it's good for people who are well as well, and they can find life.
That's true.
Well, I reckon because we've seen these inclined beds come out of the Egyptian tombs. Now, they must have worked bloody hard building those pyramids, dragging those pieces of stone up those ramps. Yeah, quite an amazing feat, really. And even the workforce had mud beds, and those mud beds are still preserved, and every single one of them is inclined. How did we miss something so logical?
Do you know what, Andrew? Do you know if you sold the concept of like sleep like an Egyptian to women, and the Kardashians slept in these inclined beds, that'll be it. It'd be done. Job would be done.
What you were saying about
giving it away for free.
I think sleep like an Egyptian could be a good little catchphrase there.
Seriously, because sadly, it's got the sales have got to be involved. If there isn't a sales pitch involved in this day and age, this is what I'm finding. When people are desperate, that's when they'll do it. That's when they'll try something because they've got nothing else to try.
Yeah.
So I've had people in my life, in my circle, who through desperation of not sleeping, of being kept awake by the baby's coughing, and so many illustrations I can offer. But the point I'm making is, I'll then say to them, please just try this. I'll be going on at them, but I've just stopped going on at people now. I say, just let me do this for you. Just let's see. Snoring, can't sleep with my husband, he snores too much. Guaranteed overnight, it's changed, it's solved. That's it then, yeah. You got the evidence then, but they still look at you like you're nuts, but you just can't work out why it was so easy.
Yeah, you're banging your head up against the wall all the time, but that wall will come down sooner or later.
But because
it's a bit like your opponent, Tony.
Yeah, but you care about these people, so you can't stop trying. That's the problem.
That's yes.
Well, it's not a problem. It's just something that I won't get. I just don't take it personal no more. As obviously you've learned, Andrew, because you've been doing a lot longer than me. But I'm just an advocate for you now. That's what I'm doing.
Cheers, mate.
Well, it's been pretty easy for me to convince people to do it, and I think everybody that I've met that I've told about it is doing it. But it's been pretty easy for me because the difference in me, I were a skeleton with skin hanging off it, just
really?
4 months ago.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
What's your medical condition, Jason?
I've got I had a heart attack early December last year. That was my second one. I've got a condition called antiphospholipid syndrome, which it's really thick blood, but I'm on blood thinners, and but I'd really been ill, and I really looked like a skeleton with just some grey skin hung over it. And
Jesus.
People, I worked my mother-in-law's over the weekend, and I was trying to explain it to my mother-in-law and her husband, who's obviously my father-in-law. He just kept saying was, just look at him. Just look at him. Just look at him. That's all you need to see. Just look at him.
You are the evidence.
That's all we could say.
You're the evidence, aren't you?
Well, we were so concerned about Jason's health because, I mean, you did look really ill and like grey and the dark circles under your eyes, particularly after the heart attack, it was more noticeable. But I mentioned at the start of the show, and my Tina came in to bring me a cup of tea when I was talking to Jason on Skype after one of the shows. After only 2 weeks of inclining in his bed, she went, "Oh my God!" Did a double take. Jason looks so well. He looks like he's been to Spain for a couple of weeks.
Who convinced you to do it, Jason? How did you become involved? How did you get convinced?
Well, obviously, sorry, I'm saying obviously when it's clearly ain't obvious because you don't know, but I've hooked up with Andy, and Andy asked me to be co-presenter on here, and he'd previously had Andrew on when he was on Enemy Within, weren't it?
Yeah.
And I'd heard and I'd listened to Andrew's presentations and things like that, and I'd always thought to myself, it was always sort of like in the back of my mind, I'll do it. And then it was my wife came home with some bed incliners she was working as a warden at a local old people's place, and they've got these bed incliners in the wardrobe. She says, "Can I have them?" And they said, "Yeah, no problem." So she's brought them and said, "We need to try this," because she'd read about it, she'd heard me talking about it and posting things on Facebook about it, and so she said, "Well, we're going to try this," and we tried it, and for me it was instant. The very next day, I felt like I was human again.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty good. And Tony, we've got a question for you from the chat room, and this is from Red Robin. And Red Robin is asking, what exactly are the benefits that athletes like Tony receive from inclined bed therapy?
I'll answer that.
Me answer it.
Oh, do you want me to answer it?
If you could, please, Tony.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Okay, so before inclined bed therapy, I'd be training intensely. I'd be waking up the next day riddled with pain and soreness. Muscular soreness, I don't mean joint soreness, muscular soreness. Injuries would last so much longer as you're getting older. The circulation, the blood flow is less, I suppose. So lying flat doesn't allow for the blood to get to the area of damage, so it doesn't recover as quick. I'm in combat sports, we get a lot of damage. So that's a massively important part for me. It allows me to train more efficiently the next day, allows me to put more intensity and effort in on a consistent basis, as I wouldn't be able to because I'd be so sore. In terms of my respiratory system, the lung capacity of my inhalations of oxygen are better. Everything's better. I feel stronger. My physicalities look even better than they did before it, in terms of like muscular density. And I'll take my top off if you want. I'm ripped. But you know, I'm being serious. There's so many benefits, like aesthetic benefits to it too. If you're that way inclined, if you you do want to look physically well, it impacts on that. So many benefits. I just feel great off it. And my sport and life has just improved dramatically.
And it is the hardest game, boxing.
Proven, well, fight sports, MMA, Thai boxing, boxing, all very demanding sport. The only sports in the world where you have to train as hard as any other athlete, but then you have to endure the physical punishment that other athletes don't endure. So it is proven that the fight sports are the toughest proven sports in the world for that reason. Other sports are very hard, very demanding. Tour de France, rowing, all that. But trust me, when you're in there for 12 rounds, going toe to toe, there ain't nothing that can beat that in terms of intensity and toughness and state of mind and mental pressure and all them things. So there you go.
Does it help with any facial injuries you might get during a fight? You might get. Does it help with that?
Everything, Jason. Any swelling or any damage, even damage to the bone. I got a cracked rib. Would you believe I got a cracked rib before that world title fight? So I went into that. I meant to say that before, by the way. I had a cracked rib going into a world title fight. Now, it happened 10 days prior to the fight. I was in a lot of pain, honestly, a lot of pain. I couldn't spar again after that. It happened in a sparring session. I couldn't spar after that. I just had to do intensive training, but I couldn't even do the intensive training for like 5 days after the injury. It was too painful. So, but I do firmly believe that the inclined bed therapy, I'm not saying it was all that. I've got a very strong mental strength to take forward into what I do. I'm sculpted to adversity, I'd say, in terms of the things I've done. So I'm a tough competitor, tough-minded individual. But I definitely will say that the inclined bed therapy assisted the site of the injury to get us to a point where I could accept the pain before I went into the fight.
Yeah, one thing that has been reported, and indeed I've noticed myself, is old scar tissue. And we're talking about scars that have been there for most of your life.
Yeah.
Suddenly becomes smoother and less visible. And it takes a while for you to realise. You look, I mean, I've got quite a sizable, well, did have quite a sizable scar on my leg where I had a run-in with some barbed wire, and it left a deep groove. That deep groove's all filled in. You know, it's just barely visible.
Look at the four of us. Look at our skin. Not even joking.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know how old you guys are, but I think our skin is showing.
I'm 60. I'm 60 this year. Yeah.
Listen, there's aesthetic qualities. There's vanity benefits to this as well. Your skin, your hair, your eyes, everything.
And your sex life, according to Jason, as well.
Absolutely. Listen, guys, this first hour's absolutely flown by. What we normally do at this time, we put on a quick tune so we can grab a drink or a quick comfort visit if we need it, and listeners to do the same. And managed to find a song for the break, which I thought was quite apt. It's called Positively Inclined. So we'll be 4 minutes, folks.
Tanner, and you're listening to Raconteur News.
You're listening to raconteursnews.com. Stay tuned for more untwisted, unsweetened news. Please consider buying a t-shirt or making a donation to help support us. Thank you for your support. We do it for us all.
And welcome back to Raconteurs News this wonderful Midsummer's Tuesday evening. I'm Andy Young. I'm joined as always by Jason Holmes, and this evening we're absolutely delighted to welcome back Andrew Fletcher, and Andrew's been joined by Tony Moran, the WBF Cruiserweight Boxing World Champion. Welcome.
Do you want to see the belt?
Oh, yes, please, mate.
Yes, please.
Please put me smoothie down 1 minute.
This is going to make good radio.
Yeah, well, it's. I actually did a ninja show the other night. I was Jimmy called in and was talking to me, and we were actually discussing Linux, and he was showing me his setup and how it all worked on a screen share. I'm sure that made blinding radio.
I've actually got two belts, but I'll just show you the world title one. Because since I met Andrew, I've won 2 titles.
That's incredible.
I won an international title before the world title.
Uh-huh.
And he's now getting his belt out, and there it is.
Wow. The bag.
That's what you can win at 42 with the aid of inclined bed therapy.
Wow.
That is absolutely incredible.
Many other reasons why I won it, but I'm telling you now, if it wasn't for my health and it wasn't for meeting Andrew and Clive de Carl, they were the catalyst for that. That makes sense?
Absolutely.
I've done all the hard work, but I'm saying, I'm being honest when I say, obviously my coach was a massive influence, but before I met that coach and before I found the energy and the will to do it again, I needed my health back. I didn't have my health. I'm the healthiest I've ever been in my life. I've always been fit, but I haven't always been healthy.
Yeah, well, Tony, from my involvement with motorcycle racing, I mean, them guys are jumping off the bike sometimes at 180 mile an hour and they get up and walk away. Most people can't imagine what it's like to jump off the roof rack of their car at 70 mile an hour, never mind 180.
Oof.
And they've got incredible levels of fitness. But you were saying it's not all down to the inclined bed therapy. No, obviously not. You've got to train hard, you've got to work hard, you've got to have the right sort of mental discipline. But for any sportsman, if you can just get that slight edge, that's what makes the difference between the guys who make up the numbers and the guys who win the world championships, isn't it?
Very accurate analysis, that, yeah.
Yeah.
So, any sportsman in my position, not in my position, so that's the wrong way to put it. Any sportsman of any age should be doing this to get the edge. It'd be crazy not to. Something so free, and he needs to design an inclined sports sort of recovery bed, I think.
Yeah.
Sell it for about £500 to £1,000. You probably sell millions of them.
Yeah, we're sponsored by Raconteurs News.
You know what I mean, don't you? I'm just having a little dig that until you put a value on this amazing thing, then people just keep the blinkers on. I don't
People
know.
will dismiss it. Yeah, you're right.
Like you guys have been ill, but sickness doesn't sell, does it?
No, that's it.
I mean, even though you two are prime examples of what incline bed therapy can do for the ill person, sickness doesn't sell. So unlucky.
No, that's it, and that's like I say again. The great advantage of having you on is saying, well, you don't have to be sick to use this, because as soon as you mention therapy, people think, oh, I'm not sick, I don't need therapy.
Yeah.
But if it's something that improves your life, and it's improved mine and Jason's, I know for a fact, beyond measure, it certainly seems to have improved yours, Tony.
Massively.
And, anyone who's out there, I mean, I've got so many mates who said to me, oh yeah, I've got some bricks, I've got them all in a plastic bag ready to put them in the bedroom, I just haven't got round to it yet. So, come on, man.
Yeah.
Just like 2-minute job, just do it and you'll feel the benefits. Some people it takes a couple of weeks or a couple of months, but for me and my other half, we felt the benefits straight away, but we did notice more and more benefits as time went on.
I'm a personal trainer as well, besides doing the fighting. So all the clients that I've got, I try and encourage them with the health and the incline bed therapy. One client who was only known for one session, he was told me he suffered from irritable bowel syndrome, suffered from it for years, suffered with it terribly, couldn't go to the toilet for days at a time. One night of incline bed therapy solved that problem. That person no longer has any problem, any suffering.
Wow.
Why wouldn't you want to try this? Why? The evidence is so irrefutable. Do I look like a liar? Do I not seem like an honest person? Do you know what I mean? People are listening to politicians. There's politicians on the telly talking about the EU referendum. Every word that comes out of a politician's mouth, you might as well just believe it's a lie. But people look at a man like Andrew K. Fletcher speaking, and you just can't fail to see how such of a man of substance he is. You know what I mean? Why aren't people listening to the people like us? It's madness.
Yeah.
Madness.
Well, I've known several people when we've had Andrew on previous shows that it's regularly posted in the chat box that, Andrew, you're truly a genius. Now, I know Andrew kind of blushes and brushes it off and says, no, I'm not. But the amount of people's lives that you've actually changed, if you're not a genius, you need to think of a better title.
I think he's a genius too. And you know what? What I love about Andrew. When you tell him stories about how much incline bed therapy helps someone, you see emotion. You see real deep emotion in his face. That's what I love about him. Makes me a little bit emotional.
I mean, my dream, my ambition, is to have parents put the kids on an incline, the babies. Because there would be no more cot deaths. I actually met Dr. Shireen Chandler from the Foundation for Sudden Infant Death at her home in London. I was invited to go there. I took my little tubular experiments with me, explained all about the discovery, how it applies to the body, why these babies shouldn't be being on a flat bed. And she turned round to me, looked me in the face and said, "My God, you've solved it." And I said, "What do you mean I've solved it?" "I've solved how water gets to the top of a tree." She said, "No, you've solved sudden infant death syndrome." And I'm thinking I've done enough, but nothing ever happened. Lots of excuses. Oh, you need to get involved with the university before we can fund you. You try and get a university involved, they don't want to know. They're not invented here syndrome. So in the meantime, all of these kids are being put on back to sleep campaign, which means you position your child in a bed with its sleeping on its back, and now there's an epidemic of misshapen heads because the kids have all been in one position, so they got like a flat back head syndrome. You need to rotate in bed. The same applies for us adults. People have often asked me, "Oh, what's the best position to lie in?" Your body will tell you. It'll tell you if you're uncomfortable. You'll need to turn over. Yeah? Listen to your body.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's an idea, Andrew, because our regular listeners know, and I'm not sure if I mentioned it to you, but myself and Tina became grandparents a few weeks ago. Now, we were talking to Tina's daughter, and she was saying, "Oh, you look so much better, Mum. What have you been doing?" And because it was quite a troublesome pregnancy, we hadn't told her all about what we were doing. Didn't want kind of overload her brain with any more information. And when she told you, she went, "Oh my God, why didn't you tell me about that? We're going to have to try that." Never even thought to say, well, put Ollie's bed on an incline as well.
Yes. Yeah. Them. I did find I found a couple of bits of evidence during the research. And there's a doctor in America, I forget what I found in the paper now, but he said he'd never had a single case of sudden infant death syndrome in the whole of his career. You know, all the people that were under his guidance, and he advised every single parent to put the child on an incline. You know, I actually found that, and I sent that into the Foundation for Sudden Infant Death, and they dutifully ignored that as well.
No money in it, though, is there, Andrew?
Say again?
There's no money in it for him.
Well,
Why though, Jason? Why would they deny people the understanding of children of that age suffering like that?
Well, if you've got no more sudden infant death syndromes, you don't need a foundation for sudden infant death syndrome. You know,
And
I
therefore,
suppose
all those people lose their jobs.
It's a survival instinct, I suppose.
Yes, and the man at the top who makes the decision whether to adopt such things or not is going to be the one on the biggest salary, probably 140, 150, 200,000 a year. He ain't going to want to lose his job, is he?
Yeah, but you don't go to the foundation. Surely you go to people who would be interested in knowing this information.
Like Mothercare.
I don't know.
Tried it, yeah. I went everywhere with it. And how are you going to prove it? The only way you can prove it is to advise mothers to put the kids on an incline. You know, I've had the argument that people have said, well, you know, your baby could slip down the bed because it's on an incline, could end up with its head down. Just get a pair of Dad's boxer shorts, tie them to the side of the bed, yeah, to the side of the cot, right, both sides. Drop the baby inside the boxer shorts. It ain't going to budge, ain't going to move anywhere.
Genius.
Kids in boxer shorts, eh? Kids in Dad's boxer shorts.
Yes.
Yeah, but I did notice. It's not really affected me, but I have had reports from people saying that they wake up at the bottom of the bed. Do you eventually sort of people who do that? Do they eventually grow out of it, or?
Yeah, it's the body. I think is just such a shock to the system. You know, people think nothing's going to happen, but it does happen, and you know, perhaps they get a bit restless while they're fighting it, but after a while it just subsides, and you know, and hey, what if you have to pull yourself up to bed a couple of times in the night? So what? You know, if you're going to get all them benefits, what the hell? Yeah.
Absolutely, but I remember something you did say for anyone who is having difficulty with that. If they take the top sheet off their bed, put an old duvet underneath it, and put the top sheet back on, that little bit of give will stop them sliding down the bed.
That's exactly right. That's yeah, you're right. Even the blanket, you know, if you put a blanket and wrap the blanket tightly around the mattress so it's tucked in either side, and then put your bottom sheet back over the blanket, that extra bit of friction stops all the slipping. I think the problem really is that the mattresses are not actually designed to be inclined, are they? You know, we need to probably think about the design of a mattress. We found that the best mattress to use so far has been a memory foam mattress.
Yeah, I've got a memory foam mattress.
Yeah, it distributes the weight better and actually builds a little bit of a pocket for you to lie in. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, which is probably why I don't find myself at the bottom of the bed.
Yeah.
Very often. I do sometimes, and I did notice that I made the bed earlier on, and then when I went back in, the duvet had slipped down the bed a bit, off the bottom. So
Yeah. I think that the other thing is that people need to be aware of is it's probably not a good idea to wear underpants and underwear on an inclined bed because you get one hell of a wedgie.
Yeah, my testosterone levels haven't dropped. No, I'm not talking in a sexual nature. I'm talking in a combat nature.
Right.
My testosterone levels seem just as high as they did when I was young.
So what's next for you, Tony? I mean, where do you go from here? What's the next step?
Excuse me, I've got a bit of aphy. I need to sniff. Got no tissue. Excuse me, sorry about that. I don't know. In terms of fighting, you mean in terms of me sport?
Yeah, in terms of fighting, in terms of your future as well. I mean, things are obviously looking up a lot better than they have been. So, what's your ambitions? What's your goals?
I've had a shitty few years, to be honest, just through the mere problem of divorce. So I'm starting to rebuild my life to the point where I'm enjoying life again now. Because obviously I need a home, I need a new home with my new partner and stuff. So things are on the up, but fundamentally, I need to be providing for the 3 children that I've got. I need to be providing for the partner that I'm going to be living with soon. So I need to be earning a living now. Unless I get offered decent money for taking 9 weeks of my life out to go and fight again, then it needs to be a good payday. Otherwise, I'm trying to build a business and I'm doing very well in terms of building a business as a PT. So I can't just, if I put all that aside, I'm going to lose all my clients when I start it. Do you know what I mean? I need at this moment of time to be earning a living. Now, I've won the world title. I'm happy with that. There's much more I could do, but not at this moment in time. I need to put that on the back burner. My ultimate aim at the moment is just to get a home with my partner, be settled, have my business running well, and then look at maybe fighting again. But you know what? Even though I'm 43 in a month, I believe I can go on for many more years. Really do. I'm better. I am genuinely better now as a fighter than I have been at any other point in my life in all manner of ways.
So that's just put a thought into my head, Tony. I'm just thinking, do you know what is the oldest ever boxing world champion?
I'm not sure. I know Bernard Hopkins is a wonderful sort of example because he is. I mean, he's beyond me in terms of boxing level by what he's achieved. Well, as purely as a purist boxer, he's achieved so much. But he's an amazing, and he was going on to like he was late 40s, and he's an example of just how amazing you can be at a late age because we're all told that age is restricted, aren't we? Footballers could probably go on longer, but they stop because we're all conditioned to believe that you can't do things past a certain age. Conditioning. That's all it is. Mental conditioning. Look at. Do you know a guy called Wim Hof?
No.
I know. No.
You haven't checked Wim Hof out? Oh my God, he's amazing. Most unique human being on the planet is Wim Hof. He's a man in his 50s. He's doing feats of endurance and stamina and just the craziest things you could ever imagine.
Is this the Iceman?
Iceman Wim Hof. He's an amazing. He's the
most. We were talking about him earlier, Tom.
Yeah.
About him before you came on, Tony.
The most unique human being on the planet, and that's proven by science.
Yes, but have you noticed, Tony, with your new understanding of posture, how he uses posture to maintain his body temperature?
Oh yeah.
Pay attention.
No doubt about that. Man knows how the body works. He knows how to get the best out of the body. So I'm pretty sure he's definitely onto these elements of gravity, how gravity works with your breathing. But do you know what? It's just great. It's great to be part of this community. To be honest with you, this was something alien to me 2 years ago. I would never imagine I'd be sitting on a podcast talking to a genius scientist.
Get off.
No,
Excuse me, but I'm not a scientist.
What I was as trapped in the conditioning of brainwashed world as anyone. I've always been a good guy, but I was lost in my own ego of the fight sport and all the nonsense that inner city life entails and all the influences that we have. And I was lost. I was as lost as anyone. 2 years ago, I found my health, and I found Andrew, and I found people like yourselves. And you know what? Blows in the way that I've ever experienced before. But people like us come across as too boring.
Yeah.
That's what everyone looks at us
When
like.
you got a belt like that, Tony, you're not boring at all, mate.
Yeah. In the world I've just been talking about, in that false, shallow existence that I've lived for 40 years until I found these things, that I can now carry on giving evidence though, but from a different viewpoint, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Because I still influence people in that world, I suppose, because of what I've achieved as a fighter, I think. So it's hopefully.
We had a little bit of a chat with Mark, who came down with you to meet me. Yeah, that was a great day for me, by the way. Yeah, really enjoyed you guys coming down to meet me.
Has Mark been on this podcast tonight?
No, he hasn't. No, but Mark.
He'd be a great fella to have on. Mark.
He would. Yeah.
Mark. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Mark's going to try and get a. We were talking about a famous football team that has the colour red, and Mark was going to try and get them, or try and talk to the manager, or even the trainer, to get the incline bed implemented there. Has there been any development with that yet?
Sorry, I'm trying to do that. Yeah, what it is with Mark is that he's a good guy, but he's got a lot of influence in terms of the world he's in. He's in the music world, he's in the fashion world and stuff. But he's a good friend and he's a believer, as you can tell. I basically just tell anyone I care about Clive and Andrew, and then I let them make their own decision now. But Mark was interested in meeting both of them, because he's had the benefits that I have had. So he's a good guy. He wants to spread the word. He wants to help. So people like Mark on board are good. They're good influences. They know how to sell. They know about branding. They know about, he's got a very successful business, and he knows how to run businesses. So people like that on board are massively helpful as well. Because one, they're doing it out the goodness of their heart. Two, they're doing it to give something back to people like yourself, Andrew, and Clive. You know what I mean? So more people like us get involved, more good guys sharing and caring and showing a bit of love to humanity. Then
same with Andy and Jason here.
Yeah, of course. Not leaving you guys out, so that I don't know you well enough to comment, but I'm just giving an example.
Yes.
We're all on the same path, I suppose. We're all trying to just spread the word, because it's a good word to spread. Oh, but that's funny enough. Listen to this one. Mark's starting a newspaper called The Word.
Okay.
So it'd be good for you guys to hook up with him, because maybe you can do your own section or something. I don't know. That's to speak to Mark, because I don't know the full runnings of it, but
that'd be interesting.
That'd be another great opportunity to spread the word.
Yeah, we'd love to speak to Mark. He sounds like the sort of person that we're always striving to speak to. I mean, we're getting people from all over the world joining us. A couple of months ago, we had Max Egan from Peru. We had Zen Gardner talking to us from Uruguay. Last week we had the global legend that is Rick Simpson talking to us from Croatia. And next month we've got a guy called Steve Smith, who's joining us from Colorado, and he treats pets with CBD cannabis oil.
Oh yeah, I've been seeing a lot of results for people with that as well.
Well, got news for you there, Tony. If you want to try it, mate, we've started making our own. So if you want a bottle to try, drop me your address when we finish the show, and I'll send you a bottle over to try.
Has yours got the THC taken out of it?
There is no THC in it, yeah. Because the THC makes is the one that gets you high, but it also has other benefits. Obviously, for what you're doing, it might be a bit of a problem. But Rick Simpson's oil is the one with THC. That's the one that we'd recommend to anyone taking who's got cancer. Because we've most of us seen the film Run from the Cure, and the healing effects, not just for cancer, but for other things as well, is incredible. But we've actually got another question from Red Robin. They've thrown some brilliant questions in there. I hope you'll come back and join us regularly on Raconteurs News, because some great questions. They're saying that they've just watched the movie Vaxxed and was curious. Have there been any reports of incline bed therapy helping individuals with autism, Andrew?
It's not a condition that I've looked into, to be honest. Guilty as charged, you know. I mean, the avenues that I've chosen has been predominantly multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease, cerebral palsy, spinal cord injury, complete spinal cord injury, psoriatic arthritis, and you know, there's lots of other conditions. What was that shoulder problem that Tina had?
Tina has fibromyalgia.
Fibromyalgia.
Yeah, and it's done wonders to help with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I haven't. I would love to investigate every condition there is, but I just don't have the time or the capacity to do it.
Yeah, you're just one man. Yeah. It'd be interesting to see whether that does help. I'm pretty sure that there's been some positive results on autism with the CBD oil, actually, and that's something we're looking into the ins and outs of it and the possible legal implications. But myself and Super Kev, who books the guest on, we've done a few extractions now, and we've made some oil, we've made some salve to rub into you wherever it hurts, and it's very effective. The stuff we're making at home actually seems to be more effective than the stuff we've bought online that's supposed to be stronger. So if we can do it without causing too many waves, then that's something we'll be looking at selling. It might be on the RN site, or perhaps we'll have a separate website and link to that. But
they can meet us back at library.
Yeah.
I know people in Liverpool will sell it for you.
Listen, I wanted to ask you a question.
Yeah.
What I was speaking. I went and met up with Tony Farrell in Sheffield a few weeks ago. And while I was just having a brief meeting with him before he came on our show, he got a friend with him, and I was telling Tony about inclined bed therapy, and the guy who was with him, his mate, said, I've been doing that. I read it and he said a magazine, so there's been quite a big article in a magazine. Would
that have been the Nexus magazine?
The Nexus magazine, that's the one, yeah.
Yeah, they did a 4-page spread on it. Very good article. There's another article coming out shortly in New Pathways magazine, which is a multiple sclerosis magazine. So this is a follow-up article, yeah, from one that went out in 2010. So we're getting coverage, yeah, and it's reaching the parts that broadsheets and the gutter press can't reach, yeah.
But it was the first time that I'd ever come across anybody that, when I'd mentioned it, knew what I was talking about, but I'd not been the one that told them about it, if you know what I mean, or it wasn't somebody who told me. You know, that was quite interesting that there are people out there that this information is reaching.
Yes, there are. Well, thanks to you guys as well. You know, because the Nexus magazine came about because of interviews on radios, ironically. So, yeah, it's a snowball.
You need the PR agent, Andrew.
Yeah.
See, I'm not even joking. I'm only half joking when I say that. Seriously though, these people who do those jobs, they know how to get stuff branded, and they know how to get stuff.
Yeah, indeed.
In consciousness and in awareness, and maybe I've got a few people now who I'm working with as personal training clients who are in those worlds, and I've asked them to incline the beds, and they have, and they're getting results. So hopefully the next question to them will be, well, Do you think this is something worth backing in terms of what they are? You know,
Yeah.
it is all about the sales, isn't it? Not the sales as in terms of monetary sales, in terms of selling
Selling the idea.
selling the idea and the wonders of it. And you only need that one door open and it'll kick off. One person, one door open, and that could be all that's needed.
I'm just going to put my light on because I'm looking at my picture there. It's getting a bit dark in here.
Oh yeah.
What time are you running this till, guys?
And we've got about 20 minutes left, haven't we?
Well, we normally cut off after 2 hours, but if you want to run a bit over that, we've got a full third hour we can go into, so we're quite happy to keep going.
I don't know if I'm asking that because I haven't eaten all day, and I'll be happy to finish at 10 if you don't mind.
Yeah, that'd be ideal.
Just that my missus had just sent me a text from down the stairs asking what I want for me tea. If I don't get me order in now, I'm not going to get nothing.
Yeah, so come on, what's a world champion having for his supper, Tony?
Well, I'm vegetarian now, which is again something I would never have believed I was going to, but I wouldn't have ever believed I went down this path. But anyway, the best way I can explain is 2 years ago when I found my health, I realised that I wasn't going to change overnight, so I'd done the drip effect, and on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, I just gradually changed all my habits. So where I'm now just an elixir of health. Sorry, having a drink and eat, I would just say, is healthy. I don't put badness in my body anymore. I've got full choice over the food that I put in my body, and it doesn't come at any cost of willpower, if that makes sense. My body's just changed. I've got a naturally healthy body that just desires goodness, doesn't desire sugar, doesn't desire junk food. I don't even get it for my kids anymore. I'm retraining my kids too. That's the most beautiful thing for me. I'm giving
kebab and chips then.
No, I still give them occasional. I'm not gonna become like a monk who's just not going to give them anything. But I have reduced. I don't get them fast food no more, apart from a pizza.
Good on you, mate.
I've stopped them eating those American sweets with all the colours in. But I'm educating them as to why. I'm not just saying to them, you're not having it. We sit down, have discussions and education, and have fun about it as well. And you know what? Kids don't mind.
I think one of the best things I did for my granddaughters was to educate them on growing their own food, you know, and because we've got our own organic garden, yeah. So we taught them, you know, this is where the food comes from, and consequently, they love vegetables.
Yeah, but it's the quality of those vegetables that's important.
Of course, yeah.
Because they're organic, grown in your own soil.
Yes.
What are you two like on your health, Andy and Jason?
Well, for me, I tried to go along with my partner when she went for the some people call it no carbs. Dr. Sarah Meyer, who came on with us a while back, calls it ketogenic diet. And to be honest, I kind
ketogenic. Sorry, ketogenic.
Sorry,
ketogenic. Sorry.
And I'm not following it 100%, but my partner does. It's improved her health, and that's just basically doing away with all carbohydrates from your diet. So you can eat as much meat and vegetables as you want. Just don't eat sugar, potatoes, pasta, stuff like that. And I was really surprised. I thought, oh my God, no potatoes, no bread. I'm going to really miss that. But when we got started on that, and we just used to have some meat and vegetables as a main meal, and you can eat as many veggies as you like, eat as much meat as you like as well, and you don't miss it. I mean, the only time I ever eat bread, we never have bread in the house. The only time I eat bread is if we go away and there's nothing to eat but a bacon sandwich or something like that. I'll eat it, and you know. The odd bit here and there is not a problem. It's when you live day to day on those sorts of things.
Andy, I'm going to retrain you on your health. Only messing. I can offer you some really good guidelines off air, you know.
Oh yeah.
I think it'd benefit you. You need to cut the bacon out, mate.
Cut the bacon out.
Yeah, I think so.
Ah, right.
I'll show you some pictures as to why on a fat. I only joke. But no, you know what? Do whatever as you wish. But there's a fundamental rule that there's 91 essential minerals, vitamins, amino acids, and essential fatty acids that our bodies require on a daily basis to be well, for the immunity to be well, for your mind to be well, for everything to be well. So if you're putting those 91 essential minerals and vitamins in on a daily basis and then sleeping in an inclined bed, woo, you're going to be abundant, boy. I'm telling you.
Sky's the limit, yeah.
I'm telling you, that's what I do. That's my living philosophy now, and I'm abundant because of it. Mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Excellent. Well, to be fair, you did ask us both the question, so Jason, it's your turn to answer now.
About my diet. Well, I'm coming from a place where I've not really eaten anything for like 6 months, really, and nothing. So what I'm doing at the moment is, if I feel like eating something, I'm eating, and it don't matter what it is. But I do have a pretty good diet. So we do eat a lot of fresh vegetables, things like that. We don't eat a lot of fatty foods. We do occasionally. I do like a bacon sandwich, and I know Tony's not going to really approve of that, but I do.
I'm joking.
I do like the odd occasional sandwich, but like I say, I'm in a situation where just seeing me eat is good enough for my wife and things like that, and just being able to eat and having a full stomach. So
of course,
but I remember a time when we were having his kitchen done a couple of years ago. And we were on takeaways for all week because we'd got nothing. We got no kitchen. It was being completely rebuilt. And by the end of it, your body's craving some vegetables, isn't it? It's like
craving goodness.
You've got to listen to your body. You've got to listen to it, and it's craving vegetables. And just think about it. It never really craves a kebab. Or it never really craves, you just perhaps fancy a kebab or a pizza or something like that. But
yeah, but we shouldn't eat for taste. We should, but we should eat for nutrition. We don't eat for that sugary, salty, fatty taste, do we? That's not what we're at. Well, our bodies crave energy and crave nutrition, but we're being conditioned to buy so many things that don't even contain food to solve that.
Food like
most food does not contain food. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. It's each to their own. I'm not trying to get on a soapbox, but I'm telling you now, look after your diet and get your bed inclined. And
it's about balance as well, isn't it?
Life will change. Yeah, 80-20 rule's a good rule, isn't it?
I mean, if you're a boxer, I mean, the nutrition and all the stuff. I mean, you're into keeping fit and doing your exercise and all that sort of thing. So that nutrition thing is really important. But it's about balance. I mean, I can't walk very far, so I can't do all that exercise. So I have to sort of balance out what I can what I can and can't eat.
Has the walking changed at all, Chase?
It's now, well, it did for a couple of days, but now it's sort of seems to have regressed a little bit. But I've expected that it's not been right for 3 years now. It's nearly 3 years since I've had this blood clot in this leg.
Yeah.
Jason?
Yeah.
What about if you just overwhelmed your body with health in terms of what you're putting in your mouth and what was going inside your body? Do you think that could have any effect on the illness that you've got?
Well, look, anything that would help. I mean, I'm willing to try anything. It's sometimes you get the. I feel so well at the moment that I don't. I feel like I should be counting my blessings and not rather, trying to push myself towards something that might make me feel a bit different in another way. If I change my diet too much, I might start having problems with me,
Yeah, it's the key to it though. You don't have to change nothing. You just have to add a few choice supplements, mineral salts, vitamins. That's all you got to do. Just add to what you're already doing. So I've also
got to be careful with things like that because I'm on warfarin, and my blood has to be 2.5 times thinner than yours. So and it has to be monitored as well. And there are these supplements and things like that can have an effect on your INR.
Minerals and vitamins, you mean?
Sorry.
Do you mean minerals and vitamins can have an effect?
Yeah, on your INR. Yeah, definitely,
Okay,
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They can have an effect on your INR, and if sometimes my blood went to 6.5 one time, which was like 6.5 times thinner than a normal person's blood, and it were really quite scary. And it was simply because I'd taken something that I shouldn't have taken, that I'd had something that I shouldn't have had. I think it was something broccoli or something ridiculous.
Really, yeah.
Vitamin K, yeah.
Yeah, vitamin K, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you had Clive de Carl on this show?
We had Clive on way back, yeah, but we've had him on, yeah.
Oh, no, I was going to say, because he'd answered a few of those questions. Besides what you're getting from the bed therapy, maybe with the nutritional side as well, that could have a double effect. I found it's had a double effect for me, anyway.
Yeah.
But obviously, I'm not suffering from any illnesses, and I'm hoping to prevent them by carrying this on.
Well, yeah, for me, my major health problem is I fell off a house when I was 19 years old and got compression fractures in my spine. So I managed to get fairly fit again. I got fit enough to join the army and the Marines, although they didn't want me, thank goodness. I drove a truck for 22 years, long distance, before I had to pack up. And now it's just the slowing down with age and the fact that the crushed spine is causing me problems. But that's kind of been alleviated quite a lot, but with Andrew's help, and also the fact we've discovered this CBD oil. And I know for a fact if I could get hold of some proper Rick Simpson oil, I could be completely pain-free in a matter of about 10 or 15 minutes. I've actually managed to get some to try once, and just a grain of rice-sized piece on the end of my finger, took it like that, 10 minutes later, no pain.
Why can't you get it regular?
Because it's legally in the same class as heroin.
Serious?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I would imagine because of the curative powers that it has. Oh, you're not allowed to say cure, are you? Because of the healing powers that it has. And it makes people well from all kinds of things, which cost thousands of dollars to just throw drugs at. And
yeah, it's all conspiracy, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
You'll have to drive to Liverpool one day. I'm sure I'll be able to point you in a direction.
That sounds really good, Tony. Yeah, I mean,
there's all signs all over Liverpool that says just go left for this and go right for that.
I could have picked some up. I was there in April in Liverpool.
Nothing to do with me. I'm not gonna get roped in on a conspiracy charge.
Roped in. Oh, good one. The boxing is back. The analogy, the roped in.
Those ropes are made of hemp. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I know. But you got to do what you got to do when you're suffering, haven't you?
Yes, you are.
I did see you were after getting a car sorted out, Tony. Have you got that sorted?
Oh, Michelle's out on Facebook, you mean?
Yeah.
I was just asking. I use Facebook for such great resource. You know, it's fantastic. Met such good people on there. But anyway, I just put any questions I have. I just put them out on Facebook. I always get them answered, and I always get them answered with depth. A lot of good people in the social media community.
There are, yeah.
A lot of good people out there willing to help. Wanna get on camera, babe? There's my lady coming in to give me a kiss goodnight, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
she brought the pizza.
That's what I found since we've been doing this. It's kind of restored my faith in human nature, because there are so many people out there that try and help you in whatever way they can. And we've just got a fantastic team of people all helping us. I mean, we've got two guys who used to do a radio show of their own. They're not doing that at the minute. They're thinking about coming and joining us. But in the meantime, they're building us a new streaming service and a radio player to put on our website. So all those of you that are having frustrations with our site because we're broadcasting through Spreaker at the minute, that in the very near future will hopefully be sorted, because we're already testing the new product out, and it should be along in the next week or so, hopefully.
Nice.
So big thanks to Jimmy and Nick, who are working away hard on that in the background.
How many regular listeners have you got, would you say?
Well, it's very difficult to know because Google tell lies, and so do Spreaker. But when you look at it, they're both in the business of selling you advertising. So it makes sense for them to play down your statistics. And when you give them some advertising bunts, they'll bump your statistics up. But Google are telling us that since we started the website, we've had about 55,000 hits. Yet when you look at the internet hosting website web statistics, we're just short of 15 million. So
Really?
Bit of a discrepancy there, isn't there?
Where's the 15 million figure from, sorry?
That's the number of hits we've had on the website since we started it in January, but it didn't really go live. Sorry, we started in December, but it didn't really go live until January.
You're being observed and watched and listened to then, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. We know, very lucky tonight that Skype's behaving itself, but some guests who are talking now about particularly controversial subjects, we do have an absolute nightmare on Skype. And I mean, people say, oh, you're getting paranoid that people are listening on Skype. I've had 2 instances in recent days where I've been mentioning something quite unusual, something I would never ever talk about, to someone over Skype, and then I click on Facebook and there's an advert for what I've just been talking about 2 minutes earlier.
Yeah, the feds are watching.
Yeah. And
I'll probably open my door in the morning and get carted away for this.
not Tony.
Who cares anyway? I'd rather go fighting me.
Oh,
That's it. I mean, the system is screwed up, and we're all under pressure. I don't know. Maybe we might not be able to win through, but I'm quite prepared to die trying if we don't.
Oh yeah, you got to fight. You got to fight the good fight, haven't you?
Mm.
Once you wake up, which I'm fine with friends and stuff. Once you wake up, you can't go back to sleep.
no.
Absolutely.
On your health, on all whatever. I've left all the conspiracy. I'm not. The reason I got into my health because the conspiracy stuff was driving me insane.
Yeah.
I was lying there with my 3 children thinking, how can this world be so twisted and whatever. Anyway, I'm not going to go on. But the point I'm making is, I thought I've got to do something that's positive. And positive is health, finding and giving other people the health and passing it on. And I'm passionate about it now, and I'm loving it.
Mm. Well, I noticed you said you had to go for your dinner at 10 o'clock, and we're very nearly there. So I'd like to say a massive thank you from myself and all our listeners to Tony Moran for joining us tonight, and to Andrew Fletcher, the man who made it all possible. And just, you guys are absolutely amazing, and anything I can learn from you, Tony, I'd be more than happy to learn it.
Where do you live, Andy?
Me, I live at Boston, over on the East Coast.
Right, okay. Me and Mark Bell will be due a visit to you soon. We love going on our little health road trips. Where are you, Jason, in Sheffield?
I'll tell you what, you can meet at our house. It's about halfway between.
Yeah, that's right, bang in the middle.
We're doing little health road shows, me and Mark. So and Mark will be a good guy to have on your show, I think.
Just a little side thing. I've just had a little message from Heath. By the way, happy birthday, Heath, for tomorrow. Happy birthday. Happy Trondance to you. But he said, great show. Is he voting Remain or Leave?
Is who voting Remain or Leave?
Well, we'll put that out to both of you.
Yeah, I'm voting Leave.
I'm a Leave type of guy.
I think I've got a bit of a hunch that if they fix this, then there'll be a revolution, because it's so obvious that everybody's voting. I don't know anybody that's voting Remain. Don't know anybody.
No.
Well,
But that's for another show, I think.
That absolutely is, and thanks everyone for listening tonight, and thanks for all the wonderful questions from the chat room. Great to see some new faces in there, and we'll be back for a one-off special tomorrow night, because we couldn't do an update last month with Paul, our high-level financial insider, so we've said we'll do one with him tomorrow night. That'll be on at 8 o'clock on raconteursnews.com. And then Thursday night, we've got a return visit from author John Hamer, and he'll be talking about his new book that's out. And I'm really looking forward to talking about that one, because we'll be covering the banking industry, one of our subjects. So with that, I'll say thank you, everyone. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Tony. Thanks, Jason, as always.
Cheers.
And thank you to everyone for listening, because if it weren't for you, we'd just be waffling away to ourselves. So, we'll be back tomorrow night, and wish you all a good evening.
Yeah, please give us your feedback. If you're trying incline bed therapy, we need your feedback. Most important. Yeah.
Please do that. And anyone who listens to this, you can contact Andrew through his Facebook page or his Incline Bed Therapy Facebook group, or on his website at www.inclinedbedtherapy.com. And you can leave testimonials on there so that other people can share your experiences.
Nice one, and hey, Tony, respect, big man.
Yes, you always, you know that. Much love, sir. Right,
Okay.
fellas, it's been an honour. I'll hopefully speak to you again in the future, privately or publicly. It doesn't matter to me.
That would be great, Tony.
It'd be nice to meet you in person as well, Jason, Andy. That'll be good.
You enjoy your dinner. We'll meet up soon again,
Thank
I
you.
hope. And we've got another song to play out with. And what's this one? This one, not quite as appropriate as the last one. This one's called Raise Your Head. Thanks, and good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.